Hey, this is Faye, and today you guys are gonna study with me, because there is a lot of lore that I read through in order to assemble it and try to find where it might belong or where it might be useful. And well, I figured that maybe I could just bring you guys along on one of these little shopping for lore bits trips. Yeah. Basically what I generally do is that if I'm already working on a video concept, I am gonna be looking through all of the things in the lore books or in the item texts or anything like that to see if there is any indication of there being some hidden lore, and also of course do some of the quests that might be associated with it. But sometimes the process goes the other way around. Sometimes I will stumble upon some lore and I will figure, that is interesting. And then I'll just file it under a headline in a big Word document that I have, so that it will be included when I eventually end up making a video on this. And so I figured maybe this would be interesting to you guys, and maybe you would like to come along and study with me. And maybe this would actually make for good content that I could put on the page, and also just maybe this would make it easier for me to get back into fishing for lore that I hadn't looked at before. So today we're gonna read the Botanica Eorzea, we're gonna read some of it because we're not gonna get very far. There is a lot of pages here. Somebody took the time to fish out all of the text on all of the plants that you can collect or gather with botany in the game. And I was actually contemplating doing one on the mineral versions. I will link both of these below, so don't worry. And you should definitely go and check them out. It is an insane amount of work that has been put into this, because if you, like me, have been trolling around the fishing log or the gathering log or any such thing, you know how hard it can be to find what kind of information you're looking for. And so somebody pulling out all of that text and writing it together in a format like this is such an incredible boon. But I guess what we're gonna do tonight is that we're just gonna go shopping. We're gonna go fishing for potential stuff and see what is in here. Before we begin, I should probably also say, yes, I will also make a language video, and we should certainly study for that too. But I really need to take some proper pictures of the book, because I remember back when I did the lore tours of the Alyssum steppe, it was hell balancing that big chunk of a book behind the microphone. So we're not going to do that again. So I'm going to take some pictures of it and then I'm going to read from the screen. But yeah. Also, if you're interested in the War of the Magi or the 5th Astral Era, I encourage you to go to Syncweaver's channel and check out. He made his last installment of the Botanica Eorzea. Future Faye will have to edit in the actual title here because I am dumb and cannot remember. I'm sorry, Sync. I did watch it. I do super appreciate that they make these. They have phenomenal overviews, but I will still do a Drawn to Lore on the War of the Magi at some point. But for now, we're gonna go with something light, and we're gonna read from the Botanica Eorzea. And I mentioned this before, but I will link it below alongside the mineral one, which I also passed on to a very awesome content creator called Rock Druid. He He might make something with it. He is really clever when it comes to geology, so I am super stoked to see what he might figure out with that. And I think that it is also really fine that I stick with the herbs and the greeneries, because while I can't keep a plant alive for shit, I actually know quite a bit about how to use natural medicines. So okay. Wow, those are at the very least 5 minutes of intro and meandering. I am sorry. I hope that you're just here to listen to me ramble in part. I should probably cut some of this out. I'll probably cut some of this out, yeah. Okay, anyway, we start with A. And the first thing we're going to look at is the Appalachian Mistletoe, and it is poisonous. And it is a variety of parasitic plant that is found growing on trees in the Sea of Clouds. And then we have the Agaricus Mushroom, which is described as a succulent-looking mushroom that is found in the forest of Ixmaya. So this is from the first. Then we have the Alamegan mustard, which is listed as edible. And it is a plant from Garabania, whose seeds are ground into a flavorful spice, which seems to fit very well with how they generally make their food spicy and, I guess, a very Alamegan phrase that just popped into my mind was that they like their food fighting back. I have no basis of saying that. That is just my line of thought, that they like things raw and they like them spicy. So, yeah. Then we have the Alligator Pear, which is edible, and it is a soft green fruit, also known as Syrah butter. Though not thought to be indigenous to Eorzea, it is not certain how the plant first came to the realm. Likely brought back to Eorzea from the New World by Lumensan explorers, the Eorzean equivalent of the avocado. And it kind of looks like one, like when you look at the thumbnail, it really does look like one. Right, then we have almonds, which are described as a tear-shaped nut which can be used to season exotic sweets or pressed for its fragrant oil. Then we have aloe, which is listed both as edible and medicinal. And it is a thick, spiny-leaved cactus indigenous to the southern continent of Myrissidia. The Mycotae are known to treat severe burns with the cool gel-like substance found inside the leaves. And I actually remember reading about this when I was doing the Drawn to Law on Mycotae. I also have several aloe vera plants in my house, and well, whenever the sun is burning, which, let's be real, it isn't very often up here in the north, but when it is, it kind of tends to take us by surprise, so it is good to have something to treat it with, I guess. That is just handy in the household. Right, next one is Alpine Parsnip, a long, white root vegetable indigenous to the mountainous region of Cloves. I have no joke tried to say this 3 times, and I think I got it now, but yeah, that I don't know what was so hard to say about that sentence, really. Right, this one I encountered when I was talking about 12, but this is the Alphic lavender, a fragrant variety of lavender rarely found in the arid lowland regions of Fanaland. So, yeah. It didn't have much of a story attached to it, like some of especially the fish, had a lot of stories attached to them about the 12. It was quite interesting. And then we have Alyssum, which is listed as both flowering and medicinal, and so I guess you can't eat it, but this annual is coveted by perfumers for its honey-sweet aroma. And then we have Amanori, which is edible, and I am guessing Doman, Yangshan at the very least, that region. This edible seaweed can be consumed raw or dried into paper-like squares and wrapped around sticky rice. So it's kind of like ordinary nori. That's not called kelp in English, is it? Oh my god, my vocabulary is failing me. Help. This was a bad idea, Faye. But yeah, we're here now. It's gonna be okay. I don't know if this will be very relaxing or very informative or very anything, but I'm actually having quite a bit of fun. Okay, then we have amber cloves, which are listed as edible. This sweet spice was made from the dried floral buds and is used both as a flavoring and essential oil. Once dried and enshrined in a sturdy jar, these flavorsome flower buds will take pride of place on a master chef's spice shelf. So many S sounds. Why do you even? Let's try this again. These flavors. Have I mentioned I'm not very good at reading aloud? Okay, we try again. Yes. These flavorsome flower buds will take pride of place on a master chef's spice shelf. So many S's. Okay. Apricots, which is listed as both flowering and edible. A variety of stone fruit borne over from the Near East. So that is from Rasadan, I guess, or from Fonair at the very least. Its orange flesh is at once sweet and tart. And then we have Arrowhead, which is again a Domenhingen plant. A weed found growing in Yangshan rice paddies, the namesake of the town of Namai. Then you have arrowwood, which is a variety of tree, and you have arum probably, which is listed as poisonous, and is said that it is an ornamental but poisonous variety of lily. Then you have ash, which is a variety of tree that is found in the Black Shroud. Then we have axelflower, which is a herbaceous plant with dainty yellow blossoms. Then we have an azalea, which is listed as flowering and poisonous, and it is a popular flowering shrub with pink blossoms and a really good housing item actually. Then you have the Eczema rose, which I again ran into when I was doing the video on the 12th, which is listed as a flowering ornamental plant said to be beloved of Eczema the warden. Bears bitter fruit called rose hips, which may be pressed into fragrant oil used in incense. Then you have Asim cotton. The white of Asim cotton is so bright that some compare it to staring at the sun itself, and obviously that is found on the steppe, I think. Then you have Asim strawberry, which is a small blood red fruit. And this concludes all of the flowers that they listed for A. Then we go on to B, and we have Bacchus grape, which is listed as edible, obviously, and you may have heard the Bacchus wine in the quests, but it is a variety of sweet wine grape from Lanossia, thought to have been wiped out in the calamity, but rediscovered growing on the back of a wild kubu. Then you have balsa, which is a variety of tree that is found in the Sea of Clouds. Then you have bamboo, which is both a crafting material and it is edible. A slim, tree-like grass brought to Eorzea from the Far East currently grows around the bronze lake in Lanosea. Wishes written on slips of parchment and tied to the branch may come true. If removed from the ground when less than a fulm in length, bamboo shoots can be peeled and the fleshy interior can be eaten. A popular ingredient in Far Eastern stews and stir-fries. Hard, unbending, and yellow when old, firm, pliant, and light green when young. Then we have beak nettle, which is just listed as flowering. A Agaricus flower laden with ancient symbolism. It has been traditionally placed on graves of the fallen for so long that it is forgotten why the flower was chosen specifically in the first place. Then you have beech, which is a variety of tree. And then we have belladonna, which is listed as flowering and poisonous, and also medicinal, and also as a narcotic or a stimulant. So this is an all-around flower. A beautiful flower common in Aldenard, from which a potent sleeping poison can be extracted. Not to be confused with the predatory seedkin shapeshifter of the same name. And then let's just talk about the seedkin, shan't we? A carnivorous plant native to the Orne Wilds, this voracious specimen of flora lures in potential victims by contorting its petals into the form of various beasts. Research conducted at the St. Macain's Arboretum concluded that the murderous belladonna is as likely to prey upon two-legged victims as four. Then we have bell bloom, which is just listed as flowering. This swift-growing grass produces large bell-shaped seed pods, which rattle in the autumn wind, earning its name. It grows a single long stalk from the center of the plant when it is soon to bloom. Grows semi-aquatically. Then we have another Northrantian little contender here. We have a bell tree, which is listed as edible, and it is described as a tree of ilmeg that bears sweet, succulent fruit, favored by pixies. Then we have a biloco. Though manlike in appearance, these enigmatic seedkins are comprised solely of vines and roots, and appear to lack the intelligence beyond the capability of killing. Some scholars, especially those who concentrate their studies on the Allegan Empire and its campaign into Mericidia, have attempted unsuccessfully to draw similarities between the biloco and the southern continent's indigenous arboreal beings, most famously known for their worship of Sephiroth, the fiend. So that's quite interesting. Birch is a variety of tree that is found in the Sea of Clouds, and its sap can be boiled down into syrup. And then we have bitter foxglove, which is listed as flowering and is poisonous. A rare herb native to the Curthus Highlands. Poison extracted from its leaves is several times more deadly than that found in common foxgloves. That is quite bad. That is quite bad, because normal foxgloves is nothing to play around with. Then we have bitter drake. Oh, that is adorable. I'm thinking of a very pouty little dragon. Okay, bitter drake, it is listed as poisonous. For reasons only known to themselves, bitter drake is avoided by most Dravanians like the plague, despite not being bitter at all. But you are poisonous though, right? You are? Yes? I think that icon right there, yeah, that means poisonous. Okay. Maybe people are avoiding you because you're toxic. Yeah, that might be it. Or because you have Drake in the name. That might do it too. Proper coffins. Alright, then you have black cedar, a variety of cedar which contains a deep brown sap that makes the wood appear almost black. Due to its rich color, black cedar is often used as a substitute for more expensive ebon wood. Thrifty. Then you have black pepper, which is listed as edible, and that is an aromatic spice used in cooking as well as pickling. Then we have a black truffle, which is edible, a rare black mushroom that grows in the soil rather than above it, making the specimen almost impossible to locate. It is treasured as a delicacy for its unique aroma. Then we have black yew. When boiled in water, the bark of this rare yew, found growing only in the 12's wood, will turn black as pitch. Then you have a black willow, a variety of willow tree. How informative. Then you have the blade leaf. This variety of wild grass native to the Dravanian forelands is characterized by long, serrated leaves, which can leave lacerations on unprotected skin. Ow! Even the environment is trying to kill you, huh? Then you have bleedwort, which is poisonous. A highly toxic weed that has been known to rupture the stomach of any unfortunate sheep that might nibble its emerald leaves. Oof. Then you have blood currants, which are not only edible but also medicinal. A tart red berry found growing throughout the black shroud. Then we have a blood orange, which is edible and flowering, and it is a rare variety of orange grown in Lanossia, named for its unusual red flesh. Then we have blood pepper, which is edible, a deep red variety of dragon pepper, so hot that it is widely believed by Far Eastern cultures to drive away malignant spirits. Oh, that is good to know. Then we have blood tomato, which is edible, and it says the slight acidity of this bright tomato is guaranteed to whet one's appetite, making it a long-standing favorite of tavern owners throughout Norrland. Then we have blood blossoms, a flowering ground clover plant that thrives in the suffocating confines of the Orem Vale. Then we have bloodgrass, a bundle of dried bloodgrass stalks for use in thatching. Then we have blood hemp, which is a common grass found growing throughout Orfard. From its stalks, blood hempen yarn is created. Then you have bog sage, which is flowering and medicinal. The azure flowers of this plant brighten the landscape when it blooms, but its true value is in its leaves. And you have bomba rice, which is edible, and this short grain rice is more absorbent than other varieties and does not clump together when cooked. Then you have brambleweed, a common foreign wine used to make cheap, convenient rope. A giant variety grows in the East Shroud, which emits a colorless, odorless sap. Then you have bright blue cloud. This flower blooms in clusters, giving the appearance of a fluffy blue cloud. Then you have bright flax. This flowering plant, hardy enough to grow in harsh climes, has stalks that can be used in the spinning of naturally white yarn. This incredibly hardy plant specimen is able to thrive under almost any conditions, except one populated by a single-minded botanist. And then you have bright lilies, a variety of lily more than several fulms high when fully grown. Pink naturally, but can be grown domestically in a variety of vibrant hues. Then you have broad beans. These large spring green beans are easy to cultivate and have served as staple food for millennia. And then we have Broom Bush. The dried stalks of this hardy shrub are commonly used in making of brooms. And brown mushroom, an earthen fungus that can commonly be found sprouting beneath trees growing in the churning mists. Then you have a brownie bush or brownie brush. Legend says that Eorzea was once inhabited by a race of tiny creatures called brownies, and they would use the spores of this particular mushroom to paint their faces for battle. Interesting. Very interesting. Then we have buckwheat, a nutty grain that can be substituted for flour in breads and noodles. Found across the three great continents, but grown in abundance in the heat of Gurabanya. Oh, that's nice. I actually wasn't quite sure. I know I looked this up at one point. I just ran around on a botanist all day and figured out what could be eaten from this. Because when I was doing my Highlander video, I really ran into the whole story about how that region just did not have enough food to feed their population. But yeah, I digress. Then we have buffalo beans, a common variety of green bean recognizable by its long thin pods. Buffaloes are said to be fond of the beans and have been known to eat entire crops if left unchecked. Yeah, they will eat just about anything. I grew up on a farm. It needn't be buffalo, it can just be cows. Like, if it is green, and especially if it is not on your side of the fence, but on the other, they will eat it. My poor mom's garden. The amount of times I had to go out and try, because one of the cows was sort of my pet cow. I couldn't get a horse, but I was riding at a riding school and I had horse tools. And so when we got this cow, we got her as a calf and I just treated her as a horse. Like, I didn't ride on her obviously, but I groomed her. I made sure that her hair was nice and her fur was nice, and also she loved me. She would do any, so I just needed to show up and she would just follow me. So whenever the cows had escaped, my parents would just ask me if I could come out and help them get in. It was so easy while she was still alive, because I would just show up and she was the oldest of all of the cows, so they all just followed her and she just followed me. So yeah. Irrelevant to the story, Faye. Or to the topic, Faye. Let's try to stay on target. Bulb. Due to their capacity for ambulation, bulbs have long been believed to be the unmatured forms of tree ants. This hypothesis, however, has recently been disproven by a team of dedicated naturalists who, after capturing several of the seedkin and observing them for 20 years in controlled environments, documented no further growth from their original state. The bulb's ability to walk appears to simply be a trait developed to allow the seedkin access to richer soils. Interesting. And then there are variants. There are both cork bulb and lily bulb, and who comes up with this word? Yes. What a great word to end on. Because now we are at sea, and I think I am gonna call it here, because I will have to edit a lot of this out, but since I'm also really good at getting off track, and since I'm also really good at not being able to pronounce things, that was a very, very resourceful way of saying I suck. But yeah, since there are things to be cut, this might not be 40 minutes long. I'm pretty sure it won't be, but it will be way too long, so we're not gonna get into C. But if this is something that you enjoyed listening to, then please do tell me, and I will make more of these. And I think the next one I will make, I will probably go through the void scent, because I also really need to look into that, and I have those pages photographed already, so that should be fairly easy. That won't require as good light. Excuses. I'm so good at this. Right. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being over here and checking this out. I'm still trying out formats, so things might still change a lot, and I am so open to suggestions over here. The only thing that I have to put in here is that this will likely be where I put on stuff that does not belong on my main channel. But I will try to keep that stuff that I make over here very calming and relaxing, and, well, something that you can just listen to. And I'm very, very thankful that you listened to this. And I hope that you will have a really wonderful evening or day, and take care. Bye.